What is up, everybody? Jake and Triss here, and we're talking Kirby's Return to Dreamland specifically because Triss got to go hands-on with the game in an early preview. Triss, you feeling that Kirby hype?
Absolutely.
Yes! Okay. So, Kirby's Return to Dreamland, for people that don't know, this was a game that originally released on the Wii, and we're getting a deluxe version now on the Switch. So if I go on the internet and I watch a Return to Dreamland review, I can probably learn a lot about the game. But what's some stuff that I couldn't learn, that I wouldn't know, that's included in the deluxe? What makes it deluxe?
So what's special about this and what helps this game earn the deluxe title is everything encompassing it. So obviously it has an updated art style. It's not just a refined look. It has way more than the original game's 2 minigames. It has, I think, 10 total. So a whole flurry of mini-games in a side mode, a ton of rewards to earn from them, so now there's incentive to play them, instead of just a fun little extra. And then there's a whole new epilogue story that I'm sure we'll go more in-depth into when we're talking about that from the experience. And that's different than the original game, which essentially had a New Game Plus on it.
Okay. Okay, I want to start from the top.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. So first, mini-games. Love mini-games.
Mm-hmm.
Online multiplayer?
Sadly, no. No! It would have been amazing to get any sort of online multiplayer for this game.
Yep.
But as we've known also from the websites too, the only sort of online is like rankings. Same as like the last few Kirby's. just rankings.
Okay. All right, bummer. But I think we just had a trailer recently about this, like
Yep.
Magolor's Wonderland or something.
Yeah, Merry Magoland.
Merry Magoland. Okay. And Tom, I think, pointed out that one of those mini games, the one that like you delete the blocks on the ground.
Yes.
That's from a past Kirby game. Are all of these mini games from past Kirby games?
Yeah, so that one minigame's from Kirby 64. That's a very iconic minigame where you're like, I think it's called like checkerboard something. Not
Yeah,
chase.
yeah,
I don't remember
yeah.
the exact name offhand. I'm very bad with those. But I think 8 of the 10 or 7 of the 10 are from previous Kirby titles and various minigames from those. And then 2 or 3 of them are brand new.
Did you get to play the new ones?
I'm pretty sure we only got to play one minigame.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it was a new one where it was I think it was called Kirby on the Draw, where basically you get these little like Western style look, and you're shooting at a bunch of like cardboard cutouts of different Kirby enemies, and it even has motion controls actually, which is neat. Like this whole game is played in like Joy-Con sideways. But for this minigame, it's like, oh, do you want to play with buttons or do you want to play with tilt controls? And you can choose which. And for a game where you're aiming a reticle at things, was pretty fast to do it with motion controls.
Wow. Now, Triss, I'm a little bit of a Kirby scholar myself, and I can actually tell you that Kirby on the Draw was a DS game.
Okay. There
and
you go.
And you tapped it. You tapped on stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. So you're telling me that now it's you aim and shoot?
Yep.
That's pretty fun.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good time. Okay, cool. But and then there's 10 in total?
Yes.
Wow, that seems kind of sweet.
And that's a lot compared to most Kirby's. Normally there's what, like 2 or 3, maybe?
Yeah. I remember that woodcutter one.
Yes.
I love that one. So you mentioned rewards for doing these mini games. What kind of rewards are we talking?
So as you play games in Merry Magoland, you get this like little stamp that gets filled out as you do things, and Mago was a little like stamp happy, so it's like, played your first minigame of the day, here's 5 stamps. Like, whoa, chill out. But as you reach certain levels of progress on these stamps, you get rewards, whether it's items that you can use in the main story, like, oh, here's a copy ability that you can keep on reserve, like in Kirby's Forgotten Land and other recent Kirby games. You can have like an item on reserve, either an item on reserve or these like special like carnival masks. And there's like literal masks that like encompass your character's face and replaces it with whatever character you put on. The example that I found funniest, I was playing Meta Knight at the time, and I put on the Waddle Dee mask and this little speaker icon next to it, and it changes your character's sound effects. So Meta Knight all of a sudden started making Waddle Dee noises, and I'm like, oh, I love that. Not all of them have the special sound effects, but there's a lot of masks. We only saw like 4 or 5 of them, but that was a whole menu of a lot of them. So I'm actually pretty excited to see what you can get for those. And the fact that you can wear the mask as you go around, it's silly, it doesn't really change much about the character, but there's something really charming about it.
Can you take the mask into the single player?
Yes. Yes, you can. There's even like a little there's like a little Waddle Dee with the stand of the masks in the hub world, and he's like, "Hey, come to me if you want to access these," and you can change it whenever. It's nice.
Awesome. Okay, okay, that's cool. They actually showed us the menu for those masks in the last trailer, and there are so many. It's crazy. And I think initially, I like totally honest. I feel like I was like, oh man, I would love extra characters. I feel like we just had them in Star Allies. It was like everybody.
Yeah.
But the masks are goofy in a way I appreciate. It is ridiculous, and the sounds that goes a long way.
Yeah,
because then you kind of want to try it on and see what happens, right?
Exactly. Yeah, and especially when you look at a lot of the different fun collectibles you get in different Kirby games. Look at like back on the 3DS, for example. They were stickers, they were drawings, they were keychains. They were like things to view in a collectibles menu. But this gives you a level of interaction with them, which I think is pretty nice.
That is cool. So can I be King Dedede and put on a King Dedede mask?
Yes, you can.
Okay, all right, fantastic. Okay, fantastic. That's gonna be good. Okay, cool. So you only got to play the one Kirby minigame, so we don't really have any other minigame impressions. So I guess moving over then to the single player mode. When I asked about changes, you said art style. I kind of want to zone in on that really quick.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's some discourse out there about outlines, about like all this kind of weird stuff. Like people have strong opinions about this. Where do you come down on the art style?
Man, it's really funny because like I've only more recently been noticing this discourse about it, and I'm kind of surprised about it too, because this game looks so vibrant. Like I'll include a little clip here from our graphics comparison I'm gonna be doing too, but like the original game was not this vibrant, and it looks good, and I'm really happy about that. Also, I'm one of the people that thinks the newer Dedede design is really good because it looks a lot like his Kirby 64 design, and I love that. So I'm happy they're doing it. I'm happy they're doing it.
I gotta be honest, Tristan. I'm gonna keep it real. I'm gonna keep it real on the pod. It's just the I was looking at the footage you recorded that you uploaded. I was checking it out, and I also like the new Dedede, but I will say that the portrait. Okay, on the bottom you have all of the players, and there's a little portrait of Dedede that's his player icon. Dear God, he could not look any more like Club Penguin. Like, just literally the spitting image. It is uncanny. It is. I literally Googled Club Penguin the second I see that. I'm like, oh my God, I could go in the video, replace this, and no one would notice.
That is hilarious.
It's just crazy to me. I don't know. Like King Dedede is a character to a degree that he is in Smash Brothers, and they just said, "This is who he is now. He is a thumb."
Well, it's really like an updated look of how he looked back in Kirby 64, though, where he was very Club Penguin look. Like, he very much looked like he came out of Club Penguin back then, but he was also low poly. But ever since Forgotten Land, they've kind of gone with this newer look for him, and it feels like this might be what they're sticking with. If they went as far as updating his look here in Return to Dreamland Deluxe.
What is the cool thing about Kirby's Return to Dreamland? Star Allies, you have sweet buddies. You're kissing them on the mouth. Forgotten Land. Andre's never gonna let me do these again. Forgotten Land, obviously we're going into like 3D environments, the Robobot, you're in a robot. Like what's the thing in this game?
So the big thing that the big hook is largely the same as it was back for the original Return to Dreamland, which is it's 4-player co-op, local, so obviously all on one console, which before Star Allies was one of the only Kirby games to do that, which is already a big deal. And you also have, I forget exactly what they're called, but they're like special abilities. So on top of the copy abilities, you've got these super copy abilities. Take like Sword, for example. I think this even turned into Kirby's Final Smash in the more recent Smash games, where he gets like the really giant sword, and there's in our footage we got to use the giant snowball, so he gets to turn into a giant snowball and roll around with it. So these super abilities are probably not as exciting as some of the more recent big things like the Robobot you mentioned, or what like Kirby Triple Deluxe had, like and what Star Allies did with Throwing the Heart. It may not be as big as those, since those technically came after this, but it is still pretty exciting to get this and see how you can interact with the level in this case.
Yeah. So, okay, I hear you now, where it was a part of the pitch was it's classic Kirby, but there's multiplayer in a world where that was kind of new and exciting in a way.
Yep.
And something that frustrates me about Forgotten Land is that if you're playing 2-player, your buddy is stuck with Waddle Ding Dong, and I'm like, yo, my buddy wants to do copy abilities. Could you roll 4 Kirby's deep if you wanted to?
Yep. Yeah. So you can. Everyone can play Kirby. Player 1 has to be Kirby, but any other player, they can play. I'm gonna hold them up. They can play Dedede. They can play Meta Knight. They can play Bandana D, or they can play different color Kirbys. And if they play the different color Kirbys, then they can use the copy abilities. So
who did you play as?
I played a little bit of Meta Knight and a Kirby. So I did a little bit of Meta Knight initially because I like Meta Knight. So he was who I played when I originally played through the game multiplayer at friends. But I also wanted to try new copy abilities out, since there are new ones here in the Deluxe as well. So I got to play a green Kirby. So when you look at our footage, I'm the green Kirby. Whenever player 3 is swapping back and forth between Meta Knight and the green Kirby, that's me.
Sick.
I got to try the new Mecha copy ability, which kind of feels a bit like the Robobot suit. It kind of reminds me of that in the abilities that it has, but it can fire a big laser, and that's pretty exciting. It felt pretty good to use, I gotta say.
How do they insert this new copy ability that I assume comes from a new enemy into this game that didn't have it before? Are you just like, they just show up?
So, it literally, like, I can even use this one part in the comparison. Where the enemy spawns for it in the level we play it, there just wasn't an enemy there before.
Okay. Man, that's so weird. And did it feel normal, or did you notice it?
I noticed it because it was only a few years ago that I played the original game. So it still kind of stands out to me like, this is definitely new. But it doesn't feel like it breaks the balance of the game or anything like that. It's not like this was clearly added in post and the level wasn't designed around it kind of broken, which is good. It's not anything like that. It feels like another Kirby ability. But where we played it, definitely, I mean, it was like a beach level. Getting a mecha there felt a little strange. So
Totally. And then, was there any other new abilities?
We didn't get to try sand, but we know sand is the other new
Sand.
ability. I wish I wanted
You
to
were
try
at the
that
beach.
One.
You were at the beach level.
I was hoping with the beach level and everything. I was hoping that's what we would get to try. I really wanted to try that one because it looks fun, but didn't get to.
What do they do it? They go, beach level. Give them the robot, dude. Oh man. Okay. So we got some new copy abilities. We've got. Okay. I feel like the one thing I wanted to ask you about was how extensive are the movesets for the characters that are not Kirby?
So this was actually something they even mentioned on like the Japanese website when that updated a little while back, and I got to verify when trying it out. Originally, they didn't have a ton of moves. There were some things they could do, but they have new moves now compared to before. I think their moves feel very similar to what they had in Star Allies, which added to what they had compared to before. So it feels pretty similar to that in terms of what their moveset capabilities are, which feels pretty diverse for something like this. They feel like they can hold their own alongside Kirby with a copy ability, I'd say.
Cool. Okay. My dream, of course, Nintendo, if you're listening, solo Dedede campaign. Let me do it. Just let me do it. Like, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. Like, I feel like maybe there'd be some puzzles that I would need to, like, turn my hammer into fire or something. I don't know. But I think that'd be...
Obviously, that means you got to play Kirby Triple Deluxe, because that did have the Dedede side mode, where you got to play through the story as Dedede.
Yes. Oh, see, come on, take me back, Nintendo. So I feel like something that's occurring to me now is that another advantage this has over the Wii version is that you can play it portably, and I feel like this might be a good handheld game.
Yeah, a lot of 2D platformers and side-scrollers really do make for good handheld games, and that's really Kirby's roots. That's what Kirby is. So much of Kirby was handheld, and this game definitely would benefit from being that. Obviously, it makes the multiplayer side of it more difficult if you choose to do that, but I don't think that's necessarily a drawback. I think that it increases the options to enjoy this game with.
Maybe a stupid question, but to your knowledge, is there any kind of multiplayer that is not single system? Is there anything that's like...
Not to my knowledge. It seems like everything is like you have the one screen, the one game, You either put it in tabletop mode or you put it on TV, and everyone just grabs another controller already hooked to that console.
I gotta say, I kind of understand where they're coming from. Where I don't really desire online multiplayer for the main campaign, but it's the mini games.
The mini games would be really nice to have it, honestly.
Especially that one with the that we were talking about before, where the ground falls.
Yeah,
down.
yeah,
yeah. There's a market there. Nintendo. Okay. Another new thing. The Magolor's Epilogue.
Yes.
What does this even mean? What does this mean? Is this a cutscene? Is this what is this?
Basically, what we have here is instead of the New Game Plus or the harder version of the game that we had before, there is now an entire epilogue centered around Magolor. Very similar in style to what we had for like Meta Nightmare in Planet Robobot, or the Guest Star Allies Go and Star Allies, where you play through a story as other characters. Here we have a story that only unlocks after you beat the main story, starring Magolor. You play as Magolor trying to regain his powers. So, and you can play up to 4 Magolors. So just like the story mode, and if you're playing multiple colored Kirbys, you can play a bunch of multicolored Magolors.
Wait. This epilogue, you're playing as Magolor?
Yes.
Yo, that's cool. So wait, what does he do?
So he has a bunch of like magical attacks.
Okay.
It does feel like his moveset is also based on Star Allies, but in the very first level, because we only got to play the very first level of it, he's very weak at first. He's like near death. Like he's very weak at first. But the whole point of the mode plays a little bit differently than normal Kirby. On top of the normal Kirby systems, Magolor, his whole thing is his attacks can combo. So you want to rack up higher combos and get magic points. Magic points are then redeemed in a skill tree. The skill tree giving him either powering up his existing moves or giving him more moves. And eventually, I imagine, then Magolor will feel very powerful and probably be able to do even more than the rest of the main cast, looking at how much was there on that skill tree.
What is going on? Okay. Remember when they did Super Mario 3D Deluxe with Bowser's Fury?
Yes.
Okay. I feel like there's this thing we think sometimes where we're like, oh, Bowser's Fury, they're like testing something out for a future Mario game, maybe, you know, that kind of. That's kind of the sense that I'm getting from this. This sounds intense.
Yeah, it definitely feels like there's something like strong here, which is neat. And it may not be like it may not be the premise for a whole future Kirby game, but it's definitely fleshing out a character that has become a mainstay in Kirby games. Like Magolor has been in like every spin-off since Return to Dreamland. It feels like he's constantly had a presence in some way, shape, or form, and it feels like they're using this to further flesh out his character and probably give him a mainstay presence like Meta Knight, Dedede, Bandanity.
That's a good point. Do the fans like Magolor?
I think Magolor's one of the game-specific characters that fans seem to like the most. So this definitely seems like they're banking on that. Like you have like you have like Susie from Robobot, and you have Taranza from Triple Deluxe, but Magolor's been the one that has stuck out to people in the 10+ years since this game came out.
Or from 64, a fake Ness.
Adeline?
Yeah, dude. Yeah. That's the one I always think of. Wow, that's cool. Wow, Magolor's having a moment.
Yeah.
That's actually sweet. And was it like gameplay wise? It was fun.
Yeah. It was the very like introductory level that we played to it. So the specific level was clearly easy because it was meant to start you off. But I could definitely see what they were going to go for with it, and I look forward to it hopefully being challenging because I think that'd be fun.
And this is like an end game thing, right?
Yeah. This is your post game technically. So you can only unlock this after beating the main story.
Okay, cool. Kirby kind of hype on those end game.
They really are.
I feel like, yeah,
they really are.
It's kind of sweet. Okay, last thing here.
Yeah,
and then we'll cover anything if I missed anything. But for somebody that liked Kirby and the Forgotten Land, and they were all about that game, maybe that was their first Kirby game, whatever. Does this offer something to that person?
I think if people really liked Kirby and the Forgotten Land, and that was like their jump into the Kirby series, and they want to try other Kirby games thanks to it, this is probably one of the best ones, in my opinion, because Return to Dreamland is always very highly recommended by any Kirby fan. It's multiplayer, it's got great levels, great power-ups in it, and it's one that many 2D Kirby fans have come to love. So getting this game as the next 2D Kirby game after Forgotten Land, I think makes it one of the perfect entry points into that now as well. That may also set our expectations for the future of 2D Kirby if we're coming back to this one, because we don't get Kirby remakes a lot.
Okay.
That's how I feel, at least.
Yeah. Kirby fans like their lore, by the way.
Yes. Yes, they do.
Give me how's the lore in Return to Dreamland? Do you get some good juice?
So the way lore works in Kirby, so much of it is like, if you're in a boss, for example, you pause the screen, you pause it, and you get the lore dump like on screen.
Yeah.
Star Atlas had a lot of that, for example.
Yeah.
Return to Dreamland gets a decent amount of that, and Magolor is a pretty big character in Kirby nowadays, so I'm hoping we get some pretty big lore in the epilogue. The fact that it exists tells me we probably will. So
cool. And is this feeling like maybe more bang for your buck than Star Allies? I really like Star Allies. I think it's an underrated game.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
But if like this is out, Star Allies is out, do you think you're probably pointing people to this?
I think I would point to this one over Star Allies. As much as I did like Star Allies, I think this has been long revered as one of like the Wii classics that people might have missed out on because it came in like 2011. It was like really late in the Wii. So if people missed out on this one, absolutely fantastic multiplayer experience that when playing in the preview, and my husband got to play with me, and I like looked over at him like 5 minutes into level. I'm like, oh, it feels good to be back to this. Like, it feels good to be back to a multiplayer 2D Kirby. That Star Allies was fun, but it didn't give me that same feeling. The multiplayer felt like an extra in that one, even though it was like really pushed with all the different characters. This one, it feels good to come back to.
I hear you. I didn't like in Star Allies having them following me the whole time, doing all the work. So there's a little more. I see what's going on here. A little more pure multiplayer, but okay. So Tris, Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe comes out on Nintendo Switch on
February 24th. Pretty soon, actually.
24th. Ooh, extremely soon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And this is a full price game, full bones.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is.
Wow. Okay. Cool. All right. And just to remind the audience, your pro outlines.
No, absolutely pro.
Pro outlines.
Absolutely pro. I think I think it helps everything pop. It helps what you need to focus on pop, and it looks cute with your art style.
Great. All right, you heard it here, everybody. Pro outlines. Get in the comments. Tell me why Tris is wrong about these outlines. I can't wait to hear people respond to. I need more DDD Club Penguin discourse in my life. I feel like we let it go. We got to get back. We got to talk more about it. But thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you all for listening. Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe. I'm sure we'll have more content on it as we approach its release date at the end of this month. Hopefully, we can get hands on it soon. Let me know if you're hyped for it in the comments below. Are you ready to go back to Dreamland? Or do you want to be out here back in the new world, 3D Kirby? I don't know. I'm torn. So let me know. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.